Thank you so much for coming, everybody. You're so welcome to this lunchtime's information session for our upcoming innovation and enterprise development course. So I'm going to start with a brief presentation just about the course, who it's for and how to apply. I will then chat to Rachel Delaney, who is both a past student of this course and the course coordinator for this program. A wealth of knowledge, and thank you so much to Rachel for joining me this afternoon. So we'll get going. Innovation and enterprise development. Why do a course like this? Why do Tangent run this course? And it is the fourth time that we're running this course, the fourth iteration of it. So in 2016, the World Economic Forum predicted that 60% of the jobs in 2020 didn't exist yet. In 2017, Dell predicted that 85% of the jobs in 2030 didn't exist yet. The World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report states that 50% of all employees will need to reskill in the next 5 years as the double disruption of the economic impacts of the pandemic and increasing automation transforming jobs take hold. Respondents to the Future of Jobs survey estimate that around 40% of workers will require reskilling of 6 months or less. Critical thinking and problem solving top the list of skills that employers believe will grow in prominence in the next 5 years. And there you can see on that image that just popped up there that in 2015 versus 2020, the top 10 skills have changed somewhat, with the forerunners on 2020 being complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, all really part of this course, something that you will be looking at in more detail throughout this course. So when we look at innovation and entrepreneurship at Trinity, we can see that for innovation, we are the first in Europe for patient citations, for 500 industry partnerships in the last 5 years. We have over 1 million in annual research income and 140 licenses in the last 5 years. When we look at entrepreneurship at Trinity, we're ranked first in Europe for graduate entrepreneurship. There's 100 campus companies that have generated 300 products and 1.4 billion in revenue. And we have 75 student companies in the last 5 years, raising 5 million in investment. So when we bring innovation and entrepreneurship together, we can imagine and identify new opportunities, collaborate with the power of diversity, and take action by having a positive impact on the world. The aim of the Postgraduate Certificate in Innovation and Enterprise Development is to empower students to translate creative and innovative ideas into products, services, and policies for commercial, social, and cultural benefit. Students will learn to be innovative and entrepreneurial in their approach to problem solving and to addressing national and international industrial and societal issues. So who is this course for? Well, it's for employed professionals who are seeking continual professional development, individuals with a business idea or looking to create their own employment opportunity, individuals looking to update their skills to reflect a changing workplace, and those seeking a change in career direction, those interested in creating a network or community that focuses on innovation, entrepreneurship, and intrapreneurship, and individuals seeking to expand their skills base with a view to returning to the workforce. What does this course offer? Well, it offers a Level 9 National Framework qualification from Trinity College Dublin, a unique combination of transferable and entrepreneurial skills, team working, leadership, presentation, and communication skills, skills to start up or develop a business, opportunity recognition, business planning, funding, and intellectual property, and access to a range of entrepreneurship development supports within Trinity. How does the program work? Well, it runs part-time from the 15th of March 2021 to the 27th of July 2021. It's going to be delivered on Monday and Tuesday evenings from 6 p.m. till 8 or possibly 9 p.m. So that all depends, and the timetable will be posted to the website in the coming weeks. The course outline, so there's 3 modules delivered online, and they focus around innovation and creativity for module 1, opportunity generation, recognition and communication in module 2, and finally enterprise development in module 3. Teaching and learning styles. So as this is adult learning, it's very much about experiential learning and learning environments with workshops, masterclasses, group projects and presentations. Students work in teams on industry projects hosted by private or public enterprise partners. You learn to apply creative and innovative problem solving in practice. Understand the iterative process, learning from failure. It's peer-to-peer learning is a huge focus of this course with people coming from a diverse range of backgrounds. That's a real strength. And there are no exams. So the program outcomes. You will develop an entrepreneurial mindset, actively engage and experience and engage in the innovation process, work in a multidisciplinary team. You will learn to communicate with and to interact with industry collaborators, to stand out in a competitive employment landscape, to understand the societal and economic value associated with innovation, and to appreciate the process involved in bringing an idea through to application and implementation. So on this course, we really want to empower you to think independently, to act responsibly, to develop continuously, and to communicate effectively. So at Tangent, we're all about collaboration and the power of diversity, coming together to brainstorm, ideate, and find solutions to a myriad of different problems and challenges. So this slide just shows a few of the businesses that we have worked with in the past in some capacity or another. I'm sure there's a few logos that you'll recognize there. So again, a real strength of the course, working with people from all different industries and backgrounds. So who is eligible? Graduates holding a level 8 bachelor's honours qualification, graduates in receipt of a social welfare payment, those that are self-employed or in employment and therefore a 10% fee applies, and that is €300. Those that are ordinarily a resident of the EU for 3 of the last 5 years prior to application. Recognition of prior learning is assessed on a case-by-case basis, so that those that don't have that level 8 honours degree can still apply as an RPL candidate, recognition of prior learning. And finally, returners, those that have been out of the workplace due to caring obligations or for whatever reason and are now looking to upskill. And if that's the case, there is a homemaker declaration document downloadable from the Springboard website. So things to consider before applying to this course is the eligibility. So there's a host of eligibility criteria on the Springboard website, and it would be good to have a look at that. If you have any questions, a lot of them are covered in the FAQs on eligibility on the Springboard website. So the schedule, does it work for you? It is part-time, but 100% attendance is required. There's a lot of group work involved, and it's really important that you try to be there as often as possible. But a Springboard requirement for a level 9 qualification is that you're there at least 80%. But at Tangent, we try to encourage everybody to be there all of the time. Classes are recorded and can be watched back, but it's still better to have you there in real time. What is the time commitment? So do you have childcare or other obligations? Can your employer release you for the duration of the online classroom commitments? And then postgraduate level academic programs. So as this is a level 9 qualification from Trinity, there will be a lot of academic writing, report writing, presentations, group work, pitches, and teamwork. The admissions requirements. So as I say, a level 8 honours degree, but RPLs are considered. Your CV and how do your skills and experience match up to the course. Your expression of interest or your statement of interest, and that's 500 words about, why you want to do the course, what you hope to achieve from the course. 2 written references. They should speak to why you'd be a good candidate for the course. They can be academic and professional, or they can be too professional, whatever is possible for you. And then the eligibility details, whether you're fully funded or whether you pay that 10%. So a document that supports your employment status. So you'll find all our courses, this one included, on springboardcourses.ie, and there's a lot of course information there also. So we are now at the 18th, I should say, today of January. So we have 10 days only before the closing date. That will not be extended. I can't really encourage you to try to get your application in as soon as possible. We will only be assessing completed applications. So all 6 documents need to be uploaded in order for us to assess your application. So please get your application in as soon as you can. And finally, that comes to the end of my presentation. The first bullet point I have up here is a link to the FAQ section on the Tangent website. So I'm being asked a lot of questions around eligibility and cost. Everything is covered in the FAQs. So if you want to jump onto the Tangent website and go to the postgraduate section, you'll find a link to the FAQs, and you possibly find the answer to your query. Even have a read through of them before you start applying. It might put a lot of things in focus. Also send an email to me at springboard@tcd.ie if you have any questions that aren't answered in the FAQs, or you still are querying that you can't find an answer to. Do contact me. I'm also available by phone, and the number there is 086 032 0487. And then finally, the last link is to the IED, that's the Innovation and Enterprise Development course on Springboard. So that will bring you directly to the application where you upload those documents that are required. So thank you for listening to me. I am going to hand over to Rachel for a few moments, and then there's going to be an opportunity for you, the audience, to ask questions. I would invite you to do so by popping them in the Q&A or the chat box here, and myself or Rachel will be able to answer them, hopefully. But before that, I might just go to Rachel, and bear with me 1 second till I stop sharing. Now, that's us back. Rachel, thank you for coming to join us today. As somebody that's a past student of the course, I kind of just wanted to hear a little bit from you about why you chose this particular course. Where were you in your life that made you decide this was the right next step for you? And I suppose the second part of that question would be, did the course live up to your expectations?
Thanks, Jane. Hi everyone, thanks for having me here today, and I hope that we're going to fill you with excitement about the potential of this program, because really it really is a special program. So I took on the course because I was interested in entrepreneurship, but I wasn't 100% sure on where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do with it. I just knew I wanted to learn a bit more about the kind of person that it takes and the kind of steps that you need to take and skills you need to take to run your own business. And I must say it absolutely exceeded my expectations. I never could have imagined that the content covered and the way that it's delivered would be so immersive and engaging and so current. The skills that you're learning now are skills that just aren't mastered in the workplace. And by taking part in this program, you're really setting yourself apart from other people. So whether you're going for setting up your own business, or whether you're an employee and you're looking to be more innovative in your day-to-day work, you're setting yourself apart from others in your field with the skills that are offered on this program. Jane, you're muted.
Sorry, Rachel. Given that you're now the course coordinator of this course, it obviously has led on to other things for you. How would you feel this course differs from other similar courses that are out there, let's say, to do with creativity and innovation and entrepreneurship?
So I suppose Tangent offers the perfect blend of, academic rigor backed by Trinity standards and Trinity staff and processes, but also industry experts. So we have leading people delivering the sessions that are working in innovative industries, innovative businesses. They're actual consultants working in creative industries. So, and we have all of our staff, most of whom have gone through the process of the innovation, of learning innovation and creativity as well. So it's the perfect blend where you're getting it from all angles, and the practicality is backed up by the academic. So it's just a great mix.
Excellent, thank you. We have one question in here. Do you have to have an idea that you want to pursue in order to apply for the course? What would you say to that, Rachel?
Yeah, well, you don't have to have an idea to get on the course, but some of the project work is based around a business idea. So it would be necessary even to concoct a business idea for the purposes of your project as you move through the program. Now, nobody will hold you to whether or not you see it through and you do bring it to fruition. So you can choose something in an industry that you would have a lot of experience in, just to give you some insight. There's no onus on you actually going through with the business idea. It's more just to enable you to apply the tools. So yes and no is kind of the answer to that question.
Excellent. We have another question coming in here. How has the course been adapted to go fully digital? So again, Rachel, if I can put that one to you, because I know you're so heavily involved in all of that.
Sure. Previously, before everything went online, this program was already blended learning. So module 1 took place in person, but modules 2 and 3 always took place online. So it was a reasonably smooth transition for us to bring everybody online. It only meant adapting some of our processes for the experiential learning element of module 1. So that's the innovative and creativity part. And all of our facilitators are very, very adept in online learning. And we have really comfortably made that move to facilitating those creative sessions and those brainstorming sessions and moving them online.
Excellent, thank you. We have no other questions. Oh, here, there's one coming in on the chat now. Is each module taught in series or concurrently?
Yes, so they're taught in series. So you do module 1 first, which is innovation and creativity, and that's completely over. You move on to module 2, which is all about opportunities, recognizing them, creating them, expressing them. And then module 3 brings it all together, where you look at enterprise development. I've got my idea, I see where it fits in the market, and now I'm going to build a business around that. So it has a lovely narrative where you feed through and you develop as the program goes on.
And how many weeks per module? I know that it runs from the 15th of March to the 27th, I think, of July. Yeah, so how many weeks per module approximately?
So module 1, because of the move to online from such experiential content, is a bit longer. And a lot of module 1's assignment work is group work. So we have a little bit longer for module 1, around 10 weeks. And then modules 2 and 3 are both 6 weeks long, because their content was always delivered online and it's more practical. So it's a smoother delivery. So 10, 6 and 6 with probably a week gap in between. Or yeah, Christmas this time around. So it was a bit longer.
I see a question here from somebody saying, if you're a current master's student elsewhere, are you eligible for funding? It's interesting that you should ask this question, because it's something that's come up and initially, so basically it's the HEA is the criteria that we need to adhere to. And initially they were saying, well, if you don't fit into the employed or returner category, then you wouldn't be eligible. But I have since queried that actually in further detail. Bear with me a second, because as I've been on this call, I think that I have gotten a response in.
Good timing.
Sorry, yes, good timing, good. Okay. Everything is just spooling, bear with me a second. Okay. It is possible that an individual doing a PhD or master's could meet the eligibility criteria for employed participants if they are also working. However, they would need to apply as employed candidates. So there you go. There's the answer to that one there. You can apply, but you should be working, because you do have to fit into the category of unemployed, employed, or returner. Those are the 3 categories for eligibility. But again, I would just encourage you to read up on the eligibility and criteria, because there's a list of FAQs on the Springboard website, as well as our own FAQs on the Tangent website that cover a lot of that. Are all assessments done in teams, Rachel?
Module 1 is heavily focused on group work. So 90% of the grades for module 1 are centered on teamwork. However, in modules 2 and 3, the main focus is on individual work, and there is still a group element, but it's a much smaller component, only 20% of the assigned work. But I would say that for all of the assignment work, because there are no exams, it's continuous assessment. So a high level of immersion and commitment is required throughout the entire process of the course. So that's something to be mindful of, especially when it comes to group work. If you are in a team with people who are working and have other time commitments, there's a lot of negotiation and arranging necessary, especially in module 1, to line up and get that time with your team. So that is another consideration, where if you're someone who prefers to do all the work, you know, cram really hard and perform at the exam, this is really different. There's a high level of commitment involved throughout.
Absolutely, thank you. We'll go over to the chat again. Since the course is still accepting applications and there are other college admissions open, when will we get to know the acceptance, as we will need to decide on it? Okay, I can answer that one. The closing date is the 28th. I have been trying as much as possible to encourage people to apply early, because it gives us the time to assess applications and have them sent to the selection committee and create our shortlist and so on. If everybody sends them in at the last minute, it puts a lot of pressure on us to turn them around and tell you guys, and we want to let you know as soon as possible, the outcome of your application. So I'll be hoping that we'll be in a position to let people know the outcome of their application shortly after the 28th. So you'd be talking about, you know, the 31st, maybe the 1st or 2nd of February, but pretty soon after, in the week after the closing date, we'll be letting people know the outcome of their application. But please do get those applications in nice and early. Can you provide an example of some of the group work on the course? Maybe Rachel, I suppose, what's an example of previous group work, or maybe what has the assessment been about? Or the
so the group project for module 1 is an industry host partner project. So we partner with real businesses who are, you know, in industries that are applicable to us, and they set a problem that they are experiencing for our student teams to approach with a creative solution. So that's an example of it. It's really challenging, as you can imagine, because it's real life, but the skills and the practicality and the reward, I think, at the end of the project, when you're handing this team this solution that they can go and implement in their business right away, it's so rewarding. And our student teams have really gotten so much from that experience, because it really takes the experience into a real world, you know, scenario.
And that is actually true of a lot of the feedback I've heard from students. They often relate back to the host project challenges and you know, that real hands-on experience that you can take with you and apply elsewhere. Now, are there many places available? So there's 40 places available on this course. We ran this course, it's currently running now, and we recruited for it in autumn 2020. We were massively oversubscribed, and as a result of that, we went to the HEA again and were granted funding for an additional 40 places. And that's why we have it running this time from March to July. And again, if we get funded, and it's all dependent year on year, whether we get funded by Springboard or not, we would hope to possibly run it again in autumn 2021. But 40 places available on this particular course. Is the reference mandatory? Yes, again, I can answer that one. 2 written references are mandatory, so they should speak to why you'd be a good candidate for the course. They shouldn't just be people's names and their contact details. They should really speak to you as a candidate, and perhaps they should look at the questions: how do you know the candidate, and would you recommend them for this course? To bear that in mind as they're getting those written up for you. But 2 references are part of the application requirements. And we'll go on there to, can we see somewhere what the projects are going to be or what they are based around? I believe that will all be confirmed, Rachel, only on commencement of the course, isn't that right?
Yes, absolutely. The projects are based on the content covered in the module. So module 1's projects are centered around innovation and creativity. Module 2 projects are centered around opportunity generation and recognition. And module 3 projects are centered around bringing a business to life, you know, launching a business, the steps involved in getting an idea into reality. So, I mean, there's not much to be gained from going into a load of detail on what the assignments are, because unless you've covered the content, a lot of them would be lacking in context. But there's an individual project and a group project for modules 2 and 3. In module 1, there's the individual or the project is group based as well as the group presentation. And then in all of it, you need to write a reflective essay. And there are other small components as you move through essays and small pieces of work like that you'll have to complete. So basically, one big project, a presentation, an essay, and a couple of small pieces that usually feed into the larger body of work as well.
Excellent.
The rough description.
No, very good, very informative. Thanks for that, Rachel. Is this course suitable purely for developing your employment critical thinking, creative ability skills, not thinking of setting up a business? So I suppose, yes, if you don't plan on setting up a business, is it still worthwhile? And the answer there is yes, isn't it, Rachel?
Absolutely, absolutely. When I did the program myself, I was lucky to be, some of my colleagues in the program were employed with Uber, they were employed with other pharmaceutical companies, they were employees and they were entrepreneurs. They either worked in the innovation department within their businesses, or they were looking at finding ways to make their businesses, their companies that they worked for, more innovative in their day-to-day practice. It improves their critical thinking, their time management, their view to challenge, their mindset, their, you know, overcoming failure, all of the entrepreneurial attributes that not only make you a good entrepreneur, they make you a good employee, they make you a good worker, they just improve your process and your productivity, I suppose. So absolutely. Now, with that in mind, you do need something to apply your projects on, an idea. And as I said earlier, you can make one up, you can pick, doesn't even need to be a whole business. It could be a new process or a new idea or something new within the business you're already working in. So that would be the only challenge that, say, an employee would face, that a lot of it is tailored towards setting up your own business, but certainly as long as you are willing to make allowances for that in your project work, that would be the only hurdle that you might find more challenging.
Excellent. Thanks, Rachel. That's brilliant. A couple more questions coming in here. For sending a document on employment status as an employee, what document is required? So yes, I can tell you simply there that if you're in employment, a copy of the recent payslip would suffice, or a letter from your employer on some kind of headed paper or email that shows us that you're currently in employment. That would cover off, and you would upload that to the social welfare employment or homemaker declaration section of the Springboard application. Is there group work required outside of scheduled course timetable? So we've kind of covered this already, but the answer again there, Rachel, is yes, isn't it? There is extra work that the candidate would need to do outside of the course times of Mondays and Tuesdays. Yes,
so in module 1, because so much of it is group work intensive, there is some timetabled time within the normal course schedule to facilitate some group work, but certainly there will be a requirement outside of the schedule that you'll have to engage in group work. And certainly in modules 2 and 3, there aren't any timetable slots for group work. So the group work would have to happen just like when you're doing your own project. Mm-hmm. That would have to happen outside of our scheduled content delivery.
Perfect. Yep. Okay, coming close to the end of the questions that are here so far. Okay, if you already have an academic reference from a previous postgraduate application, can this be used, or is it necessary to have a specific reference? So no, look, the answer is that we will accept the references that you upload. I suppose with any application, whether you're applying for a job or anything else, you want your application to be as good and as strong as possible. So an ideal reference would be a recent reference that would speak to why you'd be a really good candidate for the course. But if you have another academic reference from before that can speak to what a great candidate you are, we will accept that as well. So do just bear that in mind. They don't have to be recent, but I'm trying to give you the, I suppose, the tips for a really strong application, and in that regard, reference should speak to why you'd be a good candidate for this particular course. I think that's Yes, we got this question the night as well, and I know again we've kind of covered it, but I suppose could you give a rough estimate, Rachel, outside of lectures, how many hours is required to commit to the course? So it's going to go up and down week by week and where you are in the module, I guess, but would there be a rough estimate of how many hours one would put in outside of class time?
So this really varies on so many factors. If you took on a part-time job on top of your full-time job, a part-time job could be anything from 2 hours on a Friday evening to an entire extra day of work. And they're all still classified as a part-time job. This is the same, I'm afraid. A part-time course could be anything from, 2 hours to 8 or 10 hours a week. And so we don't necessarily have a classification of number of hours per week. Obviously, our schedule on our timetable is the 4 hours a week, but there will be assignment work and group work and other sort of pre-reading, and we encourage online discussion in our learning management system where we want our students to really immerse themselves in getting to grips with the topic. There will be, the more you can commit to it, the more you will get out of it. I can't really offer a minimum. I will say it will vary from week to week and from module to module based on what you've got on your plate and what assignment work is coming up, what stage of the module you're at. So it varies, but I would say don't take it on lightly, don't underestimate. It's not one of these courses that you can turn up and you can be there for your couple of hours. And there is, like, in place of exams, the continuous assessment is its own assessment. Yes. And so you need that time free to commit yourself to the program.
Yeah. And that is another thing I have heard time and again is, what you put in is what you get out. It very much is one of those courses. How are groups formed and how many members? So there are 40 people on the course. How many groups, Rachel, would you say would be within that 40 cohort?
So typically they're groups of 5. So we try and get a group of 4 or 5 depending on student numbers. So for a group of 40, we probably have 8 teams of 5.
Okay, 8 teams of 5, very good. Okay, so we'll stay on. There's no other questions for the moment. Keep them coming if you do. We'll finish up around 1:40. So Rachel and I, or at least myself, I'm going to hang around for another 5 to 10 minutes. If you do have any more questions, please do get them in on the chat here or the Q&A. And again, I can't say it enough. We already have quite a few applications in for this course. It's not full by any means, but do get those applications in. And as soon as you have each required documents, we can start assessing your application. Thank you very much. Very informative session. So thanks, Rachel. But as I say, if there's anything I haven't covered or something you want to speak to me about, my number again is 086 032 0487, and you'll get me on Springboard at tcd.ie. We will be publishing the timetable, which will go into a little more detail on the website over the next week or two. I just answered that question as I came in. Will the timetable of submission deadlines be available before the course starts? So yes. There will be a timetable. Now, it won't go into all the details, but it will have some details on modules and then when assessments are due. But it's going to be a draft because these things can always change. So up until you're on the course and doing the modules, something could change. But we will get that posted in the next week or two.
And generally speaking, an assignment deadline would never come forward. If anything, we'll give you an extra week or something like that. So the assignment, we'll know the assignment deadlines at the beginning of the program, but if there'd be any change, it would just be to give you a couple of extra days. Excellent. Certainly that is. You'd get a handbook when you begin the program, and the handbook will contain all of the overviews for all of the modules, all of the learning outcomes, and all of the assignment work for the whole program. So you'll get that at the beginning, so you'll know what's ahead of you.
Very good, very good. I think that is all our questions. So again, the 6 documents that are required are your CV, your statement of interest, your 2 written references, your eligibility, so that's a payslip if you're employed or if you're on a social welfare payment, a copy of a recent receipt, something like that. And then finally, the last one is your transcript. If you have that level 8, something that shows us you have that. It doesn't have to be the transcript. It can be an email from the university. We understand that it can be difficult to get access to some of these documents, given that we're all working remotely, or most of us are, but even an email from the university stating that you have completed that level 8 honours degree would suffice. How can you do group work in an agile way remotely? That comes from one of our participants, Rachel. Maybe I could hand that one to you.
Sure. I suppose doing it remotely is doing it in an agile way. And really and truly, the vast majority of the workforce are currently working in teams remotely. So how better to face the challenges of a modern workplace than to overcome group work remotely? Like, we really feel this program is equipping you with skills that you can apply today, tomorrow, in 5 years. You know, the skills that you're going to pick up outside of just the knowledge that you're going to learn based on the content, the skills that you're going to hone just even by participating and being part of it, and the challenges that you're going to face and overcome are going to really equip you to just jump right into this modern 2021 workplace as we do work today, and just be so ready for not only the challenges you're going to face today, but how we're going to diversify again, because the way we work is constantly changing. There's no doubt about it, and it will change further. And we're going to equip you with skills that not only suit now, but can adapt and can grow and can suit you again in the future.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Rachel. So thank you to all of our attendees today for coming, for your questions, for your interest in the course. Do hope to see your applications coming in. As I say, we're not oversubscribed, but we are getting applications, and it's getting busier as we approach this closing date of the 28th of January. So do get that in. You can start your application even if you don't have all the documents. If you hit that submit application, don't worry too much on Springboard. You can still log back in and upload any remaining documents up until the 28th of January. Give me a shout if there's any questions that you have. And thanks so much for joining us today. And thank you very much, Rachel. As a past student and the coordinator, you have such a wealth of knowledge, and thanks so much for sharing it here today. It's really valuable and appreciated. My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Best of luck, and hopefully I'll see you on the program.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.